Expect, like, and dislike. CRM tools are tools companies use to try to control and assess how they relate to their customers over time in order to attract and retain them. NPS is an index used to attempt to measure customers' enthusiasm for products or services. The problem today is that this approach is almost always wrong. Yes, wrong. We cannot continue to apply old-fashioned models in today's hyperlinked and hyper-aggressive environment. In fact, even when an organization has built a reasonably good strategy, it virtually always fails in execution. According to some excellent research conducted for the software company Oracle, 93% of executives say that improving the customer experience is one of their organization's top 3 priorities in the next 2 years, and 91% wish their organization was considered a customer experience leader in their industry. However, many organizations are stuck in an execution chasm. 37% are just getting started with a formal customer experience initiative, and only 20% consider the state of their customer experience initiative to be advanced. A New Beginning: The Fall of the Customer Service Industrial Complex. The term military-industrial complex came into common usage when President Dwight Eisenhower used it in his 1961 farewell address to the nation. Eisenhower used the term to warn the country of the dangerous relationship among the government, the military, and the arms industry. I have adapted it to the customer service industrial complex to warn business people of the dangers inherent in the continued use of the canned customer service programs still in use today. For nearly half a century, from the 1950s into the 1990s, customer service was easy. Its approach was authoritarian, and it did not directly connect with the consumer. Large organizations simply had control of the media through advertising and publicity and used one-way, simplex communication to drive consumers to a specific service or product. In this way, they simply told consumers what their experience with a product or service was going to be like. A great example of current success in our consumer-oriented economy is Uber, the alternative to cab car service. In the past, passengers had no control over what they would find when they got into a taxi. Sometimes passengers had good experiences, sometimes terrible ones. They felt they had little recourse but to accept what they got. Then Uber came along with its instant rating system, which let riders know exactly what other passengers thought of and had experienced with a particular driver. By the same token, the drivers could rate the passengers. In this way, both passengers and drivers can choose to not do business with people who have a reputation for obnoxious behavior. However, in the customer service industrial complex environment, consumers were practically blind to their choices. Their social connections were limited when compared to today, so they had no real way of determining the quality or value of a product or service. With few or no other options, they simply got what was dealt them by companies. Purveyors of electronics, sellers of packaged consumer goods, hotels, airlines, and others were all experienced bullies, and there was nothing the consumer could do about it. This continued for decades, until the internet arrived. Consumer bullying still exists. For example, have you ever called your cable company's service department and been told they'd be happy to install your line a week later at sometime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.? This is a classic example of a broken customer experience, and it's only a matter of time until disruptive innovators end this sort of uncustomer-centric practice forever. To be fair, the customer service industrial complex began with good intentions. Companies genuinely wanted to get closer to their clients as they realized this was the path to more sales. The problem arose because they tried to create assembly line techniques in the customer service process. In their attempt to drive efficiency and reduce costs, they looked inward at what worked for them and became self-focused, not customer-focused. For this reason, most CRM systems are designed